Do you want a super cool, tiny, and cheap head tracking gun turret? Well, so did I, so stick around if you want to see how you can do it yourself. First thing you're going to need are some 3D printed parts. If you have a 3D printer, these parts are available up on our Thingiverse account. If you don't have a 3D printer, these parts are available on our shop, where you can either buy the parts individually or the whole gun turret, but either way, everything should be up and available. After 3D printing your parts, there's a few more things you're going to need. A 9-gram servo, 2 micro servos, a receiver, a power supply, and a couple of screws that come with the servos. For the micro servos, we're going to want to cut off these little fins so everything can fit well in the 3D printed parts. All you're going to have to do is take an X-Acto knife and be very careful, but trim them straight down. And just like that, we've got nice smooth sides that'll fit right into our parts. The build process is also super easy. We're going to start with the 9-gram servo and take the 3D printed part that has a hole on the bottom. We're going to place that hole on the top of the servo head, lightly press it in so it's all connected, and take the biggest screw that came with all these servos, and we're going to put it in this screw hole and screw it in. You'll know you've screwed it in far enough when this screw is completely flush with the whole bottom of the servo piece. As you can see, it's not quite there. It bulges up a little bit, so I'm going to screw it down to make sure it's completely out of the way. Perfect. Next, we're going to take one of the micro servos, and we can actually slot it in really well, and there's only one way it'll fit because we have to have the wiring coming out as well. So you can see it'll fit in perfectly like this, and it's just a friction fit because it's 3D printed with such tight tolerances that it just fits right in. Next, we're going to take the 3D printed part with the knob on the side and stick it straight down on the top of the other micro servo so it fits in like that, and we're going to take a screw and screw it in just like before. Just like that, we've got it nice and secure on top. Then we're going to take our other micro servo and do the same thing. There's only one way where this servo can fit in, so we're just going to slide it in like this. And just like that, we've got a nice friction fit with this servo, nice and connected. Before we install the last part, we actually have to assemble it, which makes it a little bit easier, but we're going to take the gun turret piece and slide them straight into the holster. They might be a little tight, but they should fit in pretty nicely. And just like that, we've got our turret all put together, and all we have to do is screw it into the side of this servo. And just like that, your turret should be fully operational. After you got your turret all put together, attaching it to a receiver is super easy. If you're going to use a standalone receiver, I would recommend a 4-channel receiver. The setup goes like this. You take the bottom 9-gram servo and put that into the throttle spot, which is channel 1. You take this second servo and plug it into the aileron spot, or channel 2. And you take this top servo and plug it in to channel 3. And just like that, you're all connected and ready to go. There are 2 ways to control this gun turret. One is completely with the transmitter, and one is with a head tracker and a transmitter combined. Let's start with the transmitter. The complete transmitter method is the easiest by far because everything is already plugged into our receiver. All you need to do is plug in power and bind your transmitter, and just like that, everything should be connected. So I attached the bottom 9-gram servo to throttle because you can have a positional switch that stays where you left it. So if you want to look over there and stay over there, you can do that. It doesn't snap back to the middle. Now on the top, if you want to look around, you can still use the aileron channel to look left and right, and then the elevator to look up and down. You can get this whole huge range of freedom, which is really cool for tracking planes. You want to look left, and you can track really well. Works really super nice. Using a transmitter plus a head tracker is also pretty easy. It just requires a little more setup. So I'm going to start by using a radio that has a trainer port. And in this case, I'm using the Radio Master Zorro with a module that allows me to talk to this Spectrum receiver. I'm going to start by making a new model. Click in. We're going to scroll down so we can set up the receiver. In this case, I've got the external radio. I'm going to set that to multi. And then we're going to find the DSMX transmitter that I'm using. DSM, and then I'll leave this to auto. And then we can plug our receiver in and click bind. And just like that, we've connected to our turret. As you can see, things are working just like they were, which is fine, but we want to use this head tracker. So we're gonna have to scroll down until we find the trainer setting. We have trainer off. We want to turn that to master and jack because we're going to use the head tracker to control the 2 channels that this top gimbal is going to move with. So now we can page forward until we get to the inputs where we want the first channel right now is with throttle, which is fine. But on this remote, there are scroll wheels and I want to use that to control this bottom because it makes more sense to me to move left and right and have this thing move left and right. So click and hold, then click edit, scroll down to source. We're going to click on it and then move the wheel we want. So as you can see, the scrolling is opposite for now, but we can change it at the end. We can return. We can go down to channel 2, long press, click edit, and we're going to scroll down. Instead of source aileron, we are going to long press, scroll down until we find trainer, and we're going to set this to trainer channel 2. I'll explain why in a minute. And same for elevator. Instead of using the elevator channel, we want to long press, go down to trainer, and select trainer channel 3. We can return, and you can move forward a page until we're on the very last page. This is the outputs. And we remember that we want to reverse channel 1. So if we click and hold, hit edit, we can go down to direction and inverse it. So now, as we scroll, we have going to the right, going to the left. That's exactly how we want it. Perfect. Now, just to make sure that the head tracker is actually connected, we are going to plug in this audio jack into the trainer port so these 2 can communicate. So I'm going to plug one end into the head tracker and the other end into the trainer port jack in the back here. And once we apply power to the head tracker, we should hear this from the transmitter.
Trainer signal recovered.
The trainer has connected. So you can see with this head tracker, we can move left and right and up and down. Now you notice we turn left, it goes right. We just have to reverse this side to side channel so we can scroll through and find it. This is our panning. Long press on channel 2, edit, and the direction should just reverse. And just like that, we are now looking left, we are looking right, we are looking up, and we're looking down, all with the head tracker while still having the ability to look left and right with this scroll wheel. So we can look left and all around, exactly what we're looking for. This setup is already really cool, but what if you wanted to make it an FPV gun turret? Well, it's super easy with the help of a Wolfwhoop WT03 camera, the adapter wire that comes with the camera, and a 1-cell battery. All you have to do is put a little piece of double-sided tape up top, seal down the backing, then peel off the non-sticky side, stick on the camera, make sure the lens is right in between the turrets just so it looks the best. Then apply another little piece of double-sided tape here. Plug in your adapter wire. And then you can stick your battery right on the end here and plug it in. You'll be all good to go. I've just got 2 more things to comment on before wrapping up this video. 1, why not power the camera directly from the receiver? And I thought the same thing. It would be just like all of our other planes. But it turns out this camera with the receiver I was using, the camera requires too much of the power, which means the signal will get really shaky and the servos get really jittery. As you can see here in a little bit, it just gets really shaky. So I've tried Y-leading it from different servo plugs. I tried Y-leading it from the main battery source. I tried doing everything I could to get power directly from the receiver, and I just couldn't do it without making things really shaky and poor. So if you can think of a solution to that, that would be awesome, because I don't love using the external battery for the camera, but it's just what I had to do. Second point, the servos do just get jittery occasionally, and I don't know why. Everything right now is using its own battery, so the servos are powered differently from the camera, but it still occasionally gets shaky. As you can see, it's just a little shaky. That might be because the servos are so small that there just are some imperfections in the signal, but I'm still trying to figure out that one too. But in the meantime, it still looks really cool. That 9-gram servo at the bottom works really well for panning and tilting, and I wanted to make this system as small as possible, so I went with the micro servos, which are again available in the description. If you're wanting to buy the parts or the whole system, everything will be up on the shop. This will be a Mark 1 because I do want to make this better. But in the meantime, if you want to buy it and do it yourself, there is links to everything. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Inverted Aviators RC, and stick around for more fun videos like this.